Okay, so, have you ever even thought about the career path of someone at, say, a water park? Person handing you a towel.
Probably not. I know I haven't. But that's kind of why we're taking this deep dive today. It's
Yeah.
all about swimming facility attendants, and honestly, there's way more to it than you might think. We're looking at a career guide, Andy, some stuff about this new platform, RoleCatcher, and get this, they're bringing AI into the job hunting scene, even for lifeguards.
Yeah, it's kind of wild how tech is popping up everywhere these days, even in jobs that seem, pretty traditional.
Right, like the guide we've got here, Swimming Facility Attendant, the complete career guide.
Yeah.
It starts off with basics, cleaning, keeping everyone safe, customer service, the usual. But then, and this is where it gets interesting, they mention conflict resolution and emergency response. That's a whole other level of responsibility.
Oh, absolutely. You're talking about potentially hundreds of people, and you're responsible for their well-being. It takes a certain kind of person to handle that. You've got to think fast, stay calm under pressure.
It's like being a mini first responder.
Exactly. Imagine a kid panics in the deep end, doesn't know how to swim, you need to react instantly. These are high-pressure skills, but incredibly valuable no matter what you end up doing in life.
Wow, when you put it like that, it's not just about keeping things tidy and making sure no one sneaks in without paying. So it's actually a good learning experience, I guess.
100%.
And get this, that the guide doesn't just stop at the day-to-day stuff. They actually map out how you can turn this into a real career. They call them career stages. Career stages for a swimming facility attendant. What does that even look like?
So picture this. You start as a lifeguard, right? Get certified in first aid, CPR, all essential life skills, by the way, not just for the job.
Hmm.
As you gain experience, you might start supervising other staff, maybe even running the pool schedule, handling some basic maintenance if something breaks.
Wait, so you're not just watching for, like, kids doing cannonballs anymore. You're managing people, a budget, maybe even fixing the pool pump when it goes kaput.
Exactly. And these skills, they're transferable. Imagine you're applying for a job in event management. You can say, hey, I've coordinated a pool party for 200 kids. That shows you can handle logistics, make decisions on the fly.
Right. And stay cool when things get chaotic. Okay, that makes a lot more sense now. It's like a hidden career path that no one really talks about.
Yeah.
And speaking of hidden gems, our research also turned up this platform, RoleCatcher, AI for job seekers. It sounds almost too good to be true.
Right. RoleCatcher's doing some really interesting stuff. They've got this browser extension, rolecatcher.capture.
Yeah.
Basically, you can save job ads from anywhere. But here's where it gets really interesting. They use AI to analyze them.
Okay, yeah, that whole AI finding you thing they advertise. How does that actually work?
Well, it's not magic, but it's
Okay.
pretty close. You upload your resume, and the AI breaks it down, your skills, your experience, everything. Then it goes out and compares all that to actual job descriptions.
So it's like having your own personal headhunter scouring the internet 24/7.
Exactly. Only way faster and probably more accurate than a human could ever be, which, in this job market, that's a huge deal.
No kidding. So it's not just about matching keywords then.
Not at all. Rolecatcher's AI digs deeper. It understands the nuances of language, the way skills can be described in different ways. For example, it might recognize that your experience handling, say, a difficult customer at the pool translates to strong communication skills, maybe even conflict resolution. Those are valuable anywhere, not just poolside.
It's about connecting the dots then, showing how what you've learned in one job translates to something completely different.
And that's huge because let's face it, sometimes our resumes don't always tell the whole story. This could be a game changer for a lot of people. It really can be. And it can really help you, get ready for that next step too.
Practice makes perfect, right?
Well, RoleCatcher even has this AI feature that helps you practice, like actually practice answering those common interview questions. You can even record yourself and it'll give you feedback.
Oh, seriously. Like it'll tell you if you sound like nervous or if you're rambling.
It can give you pointers on your delivery. Yeah, and even on the content of your answers. I mean, how cool is that? It's like having a personal interview coach right there in your pocket.
Okay, that's seriously impressive. I might need to check this out myself. But, okay, back to the actual job for a sec. The guide mentioned something about the physical demands. It's not exactly a desk job, right?
Definitely not. You're going to be moving around on your feet a lot, probably out in the sun too. And depending on the facility, you might be lifting or carrying equipment.
Yeah, okay, so you're getting paid to work on your 10 A and D,
Mm-hmm.
get a workout. Not bad. The guide also talked about certifications. Like on top of the regular lifeguard stuff. What's that all about?
Right, so those certifications are like a way to level up your skills, you know? Like,
Yeah.
yeah, you start with your basic lifeguard cert, but you can actually specialize in other things too. Pool maintenance, teaching water aerobics, even managing a whole team of lifeguards.
Hold on, wait. There's a certification for managing lifeguards. That's a thing.
Oh, yeah. And having those extra certifications, it can mean higher pay, better job opportunities. It shows you're serious about what you do.
So it's like choosing your skills in a video game. You start with the basic moves, and then as you level up, you unlock all these cool abilities.
I like that. It's about constantly challenging yourself and gaining new expertise.
And speaking of challenges, the guide also dug into industry trends. And apparently, the leisure and hospitality sector, it's booming. What's driving that? Is it just because it's hot out?
Well, that helps, but it's bigger than that. People have more money to spend these days, right? So they're spending it on experiences, vacations, recreation, stuff like that, and swimming. It's just becoming more and more popular. People are realizing, hey, this is good exercise. It's relaxing. It's social.
Right. It's not just for kids or serious swimmers anymore. It's for, like, everyone.
Exactly. And facilities are catching on, offering more programs, being more inclusive. It's a really interesting time to be in this field.
So, job security then. That's good news. But with more people wanting these jobs, that means more competition, right? How can someone stand out?
And that's where those certifications we talked about come in. They set you apart. Show that you're invested in your career, not just looking for a summer gig.
Okay, so it's not just about knowing how to do a perfect cannonball. It's about showing that you're, like, dedicated, that you actually want to learn and grow in this field.
100%. And employers, they see that. They're looking for people who are passionate, who are willing to go the extra mile.
That makes sense. Okay, so we've talked about the physical stuff, certifications, the fact that this industry is, like, exploding right now, and of course, all those unexpected skills you can pick up: leadership, conflict resolution, even budgeting, apparently.
Yeah.
But one thing that really stood out to me in the guide was the emphasis on communication skills. Why are those so important, even for, like, an entry-level position?
Well, think about it. You're the face of the facility, right? You're interacting with everyone, little kids, parents, maybe even some, super competitive swimmers. And you need to be able to talk to all of them, explain the rules, maybe calm someone down if they get upset.
Oh, right. I bet there's some pretty interesting personalities at the pool sometimes.
You could say that. And those communication skills, they only become more important as you move up the ladder.
Right. Because if you're managing a team, you need to be able to give directions, feedback, basically wrangle a whole bunch of people and keep things running smoothly.
And that's a valuable skill in any job, wouldn't you say?
Totally. Okay, so for anyone listening who's thinking, okay, this sounds kind of cool, B-U-T, I'm not exactly a people person, what advice would you give them?
I'd say don't write yourself off just yet. Like anything else, communication is a skill. You can learn it, you can practice it. Start with the basics, listen to people, be clear when you speak, be respectful, and don't be afraid to observe. Yeah, like watch how the more experienced staff members interact with people, how they handle different situations. You can learn a lot just by paying attention.
Oh, that's actually really good advice. And I guess it applies to, like, anything, not just this job. Pay attention, learn from the people around you.
Exactly. And that's what's so cool about learning in general, right? Even if a job seems, I don't know, simple at first glance, there's always more to it than meets the eye.
Totally. And sometimes those simple jobs, they can turn into something much bigger,
Absolutely. And who knows, maybe this deep dive has planted a seed for someone listening. Maybe they'll be the next, I don't know, aquatics director or something just because they decided to take a chance on something new.
Now, that's what I call a career plot twist. Okay, so we've talked about the physical demands, certifications, industry trends, and even the unexpected skills you can gain as a swimming facility attendant. Like, who knew, right? But what I'm really curious about is this idea of career stages. Can you walk us through what that might actually look like for someone starting in this field?
Okay, so imagine this. You're a brand new lifeguard, right? Fresh out of training. Your main focus is keeping everyone safe, making sure they follow the rules, and knowing what to do if, something happens.
Right, so you're getting your feet wet, learning the ropes, literally.
Exactly. But as you get more comfortable, more confident, you might take on more responsibility. Maybe you help train new lifeguards, or you're put in charge of a team during like a super busy time.
Well, right, like when there's a big group of kids having a birthday party or something.
Yeah, exactly. And from there, you could even become a head lifeguard. You'd be in charge of the schedule, making sure all the other lifeguards are doing their thing, dealing with any issues that come up.
So basically, you're moving up in the world, getting more and more leadership experience as you go. That's actually really cool. It's like the built-in mentorship program or something.
And that mentorship, it can open doors to even more training. Lots of places, they actually want their staff to get those specialized certifications we were talking about. It's a win-win, right?
Totally. They get a more qualified employee, and you get to level up your skills. So theoretically, someone could start as a lifeguard, fresh out of high school or whatever, and end up managing a whole aquatics facility, maybe even multiple locations. That's kind of amazing.
It really is. And it all starts with, being open to those opportunities, seeing the potential where other people might not. This career guide, it doesn't just tell you what the job is, it shows you where it could lead.
It's like they're saying, hey, even if you start by handing out goggles and blowing up floaties, you can build a real career from this.
I love that. Speaking of which, one thing that surprised me in the guide was how much they emphasized communication skills. Why are those so important, even for like an entry-level position?
Well, you got to think about it. You're the face of the place, right? You're dealing with all kinds of people, excited kids, worried parents, maybe even some very serious swimmers. You got to know how to talk to all of them, make them feel comfortable, and, sometimes you got to lay down the law.
Right, like no running on the deck. Exactly. And those communication skills, they just become even more important as you move up.
Right, because if you're managing people, giving them feedback, delegating tasks,
You got to be able to communicate clearly and effectively, no matter what.
makes sense. So for anyone listening who's maybe thinking, okay, all this sounds pretty cool, but I'm not exactly a people person, any advice for them?
I'd say don't rule it out. Like any skill, communication, you can learn it. Start small, really listen when people talk to you, speak clearly, be respectful, and honestly, don't underestimate the power of just watching and listening.
Like be a communication spy.
Kind of. Pay attention to how the more experienced staff members interact with people, how they handle different situations. You can learn so much just from observing.
That's a good point. It's like free training right there. And I guess it applies to more than just this job. Pay attention, learn from the people around you, and don't be afraid to step outside your comfort zone a little.
100%. Because you never know what you might discover about yourself, right? And who knows, maybe that seemingly simple job could turn into a passion, even a lifelong career.
Absolutely. Or, at the very least, it'll give you some great stories to tell. Okay, so as we wrap things up here, I want to leave everyone with this thought. What jobs in your field might seem, on the surface, pretty straightforward, maybe even a little boring? But what if you took a closer look? What potential might be hiding in plain sight? Maybe it's time to grab your metaphorical diving gear and find out. You might be surprised at what you discover. Until next time, happy swimming.